Our chalice reading this morning is adapted from John Saxon, The River of Community. A faith community is like a river formed from the many streams of our lives that meet and merge and flow to the sea. As members and friends of this faith community, we share our time and energy, our creativity, imagination, and vision, our talents, skills, and gifts, and the streams of our individual lives that is made to create a river that is both deep and broad, a river that is made up of many streams, sustains life, and refreshes the land through which it flows. Come, let us worship together.
Community is formed in moments when we least expect it and occasionally when we planned for it. Community is formed when the idea of belonging to one another has more gravity than the heavy weight of our isolation. Community is formed when we come to understand that it's not a product, but a practice, that it is not something we receive, but something we choose to create. This morning, our annual Stewardship Sunday, we'll be talking about this community, about what forms it and what preserves it, what passes it forward for the generations to come. We'll be talking about money. Yes, just prepare yourself. Money as a concrete format that our values sometimes take. As Teilhard de Chardin once put it, money as material energy in easily handled form. Isn't that good? That's really good. But mostly, what we'll do this morning is we'll be together in this place where truly you are welcome. If it is your first time or your 400th time, you are welcome here where we belong together. As our service starts, I want to invite you, as you are willing and able, to turn and greet your neighbor, or just if you're not feeling extroverted, you don't have to. But what a gift it is to be one another's people. The choir will be coming up. They will sing through our opening hymn one time before inviting you to join, turn and shake, and greet each other.
There's a quote from a religious educator, Connie Goodbread, and she says, "Everything we do is faith formation. Everything we teach is Unitarian Universalism. The congregation is the curriculum." And I was thinking about how we could illustrate that here. In RE classes for the teachers, I often talk about how important it is for the teachers to model Unitarian Universalism and how that's a big part of what we're doing here in teaching each other. And we do that as a congregation too. So here's a story from religious educator Paula Gribble about how we learn to work together and practice our UU values. Everyone is on the road. Have you ever imagined being in a car and driving until the road ends? Or how about going on a road trip and flipping a coin to figure out which way to go? I wonder what that would be like. Maybe another day. But for today, I'm going to take us on a ride. You might be able to help me. I'll let you know when you can help, especially those I talked to earlier. And even if I haven't talked to you earlier and you want to participate, great. So now it's a nice day. You're driving around leisurely, taking your time, going from place to place. You love your car. It suits you perfectly. You roll the windows down, feel the breeze and warmth of the sun on your face. You listen to silence or your favorite country tunes.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, we'll do country tunes. I was going to say NPR, but maybe country tunes are better for driving. I agree. It's just how you like it. It's perfect. But then, sometimes it's not like this. There are other cars on the road. Can I have my other drivers come up? A few of my other drivers? Or anyone who would like to drive their car on the road. Here we go. There are my other drivers. They're out for a drive too. So you may have to pause behind other cars. Or if it's at night, you might have to deal with lights shining in your way. It's okay, though, because you're feeling relaxed, able to take your time where you're going. And sometimes you might even wave to each other as you go by. You may still like it better the way it was before, or you may enjoy knowing that there are others on the road with you somewhere. Then there are other times. There are lots of cars on the road. Can I get some more cars up here? I know. Can we get some more? Are there more cars who want to join the cars? And it's not just cars like yours. They're bigger ones and smaller ones, louder ones and older ones and younger ones. And you aren't feeling so leisurely anymore. It seems like everyone on the road is in too much of a hurry. Not only are they going too fast, but they have lots of different places to go. Everyone is so focused on where they want to go, they aren't waving anymore. They're just irritated, and they want it their way. You try to be patient, but people pull out in front of you, or someone next to you has music up so loud you can no longer hear your good country music. This guy over here is talking on his cell phone. Oh my gosh. It's just a mess out there. People are starting to get really, really frustrated. And you're getting mad too. No, nobody dies, thankfully. It's just chaos. So stop. Everyone freeze. Everyone freeze. That didn't seem so fun or relaxing. Not only is it hard for everyone to get where they're going, but it also causes a lot of people to be in a bad mood. It doesn't have to be like this. You see, everyone has a right to be on the road. Some may like to drive slow, some may move faster, and some may not know where they're going. But it's possible for the person who cut you off in traffic may be in a hurry to see a sick relative. It's possible the person driving too slow recently got in an accident and is just too nervous to drive again. It's also true that we are quick to point out the frustration of others' bad driving and forget that we make mistakes too. Sometimes we're in a hurry too. Still, everyone has a right to the road. We can make room on the road for others, even when our car isn't like their car isn't like ours. And now it's organized chaos now. Fantastic. I love it. That sounds very similar to our roads out back, out on the Beltway. Organized chaos. All right. Now all the cars slowly go back to the park at their seats. Thank you, cars. And being on the road with other people can teach us something. So instead of wishing for different paths, instead of seeking our own road, we drive together. And there isn't a link between this road and that. Oh, when there isn't a road between this road and that, we build bridges and make compromises. This is what we practice here. No matter what our age, shape, past beliefs, we build bridges and learn to drive together in love. This is the place we're all on the road together. So now if I could have children and youth and their teachers walk to class. And remember the road, y'all. Share that road.
Well, you all, we are making it. We sang that hymn. We created organized chaos. It's all part of the master plan to show you how purely organized we are at all times in this congregation. And one moment, we come together from the absurd to the sublime. In one moment, we come together from sharing the gift of music and of art to sharing the gift of one another's graciousness. This Stewardship Sunday, it is my great honor to introduce my friend and our chair of the Stewardship Committee, Josh Moore, who incidentally, and I keep telling this tale on him, when Josh joined River Road during the pandemic, he said, "There is one thing that I do not want to do, and that is stand in front of people and talk about money." And that is the level of commitment we have from this amazing leader. Josh.
She's telling the truth. On behalf of the Financial Stewardship Committee, good morning. Over the last few years, the focus of our stewardship campaigns has been on recovering from the lingering effects of the pandemic and what we have lost. As we're quickly approaching the 4th anniversary of that event, we are using this year's campaign to shift our perspective and to focus on what we do have, each other. It's no small thing to have a community like River Road and to be able to say that we belong to it. More than that, we belong here, together. Standing up in front of you in the sanctuary and online, it's true that asking people for things, especially money and help, is deeply uncomfortable for me and triggers just about every anxiety reflex that I have.
We love you, Josh.
The flight portion of the fight or flight is real for me right now, so don't move. Or I might end up running to the basement like our cat does when someone knocks on the door. That being said, working on the Stewardship Committee has given me another point of view, and working on this campaign has fundamentally changed how I feel about giving to River Road. Preparing for it has reminded me of all of the ways, and even shown me new ways, that this community we belong to does so much amazing work, not just for those of us that are a part of it, but for those who aren't. And I think it's important to point out that because we have such skilled and attentive leaders, a lot of what happens here seems effortless. We never have to look far for volunteers or funding or other support because we don't have to talk about it. It just seems to happen. And we don't realize the immense amount of time, talent, and financial support all of those programs and events require, and that they just seem to happen. This year's financial goal of $960,000 reflects our congregation's needs to produce a balanced budget. And your financial support toward meeting this goal is crucial to River Road so that our community can continue to do everything that I've mentioned and more in that seemingly frictionless way. But in addition to the financial gifts, we want to foster the spirit of community with all of you, and that runs through River Road, and remind all of you what it means to be in this together. It doesn't matter whether you classify yourself as a member, a friend, or you're just visiting. If you are here, you are a part of this community, and you matter. Your gift to this year's campaign will go towards supporting staffing, programming, religious education, taking care of our facilities. This gift is an important part of our budget planning process for the upcoming fiscal year. Without your gift, our staff and our board cannot reliably forecast the revenue that will be on hand for next year to establish our budget. Every gift, your gift, matters. And just to be clear, making a gift to this campaign is not meant to be paid in full when you make it. You are promising to pay this gift over the course of the next fiscal year, which starts on July 1st of 2024, and you would have 12 months to pay it. In fact, there are numerous options for how you can pay. Conveniently, there should be a QR code right above my head at this moment. No. So, yay! If you are so inclined and you scan it with the camera on your smartphone at this moment, it will take you to our online pledge form. That same QR code can be found on the bookmark we left on your chair when you came in this morning. You can even pay by dropping a check and your pledge form into the green box that lives on the table where we will be staffing it to answer any questions you have about this year's campaign after the service. We even have a special guest today and next week. Our bookkeeper, Susan Eckert, is going to be here in the office after service if you are interested or need help in setting up online giving. We really want to make it as easy as possible for you to give and to have a way to do it that works for you. As always, thank you in advance for your continued support of River Road, and thank you for helping us turn our beliefs into tangible, concrete action. We believe this year's theme of belonging together is an important part of our community's life that we need to acknowledge. Stewardship ultimately goes much deeper than money, although don't get me wrong, that's the main reason I'm up here today. Regardless of how you found your way here, whether it was decades ago or just this morning, whether you are a member or a guest, whether you are deeply involved in the work of this community, or if you're more like me, looking for the door to the basement to hide for a while, we're glad you're here, and we hope you'll stick around, because none of this happens due to one person working alone. We really are all in this together. We all have something to offer, and today, as well as the duration of the campaign, your financial contribution matters to River Road, to the continued work of our community, and to all of us here who envision a bright future ahead together. Thank you.
There's not a real sense of hierarchy, so you can there's not a real sense of hierarchy, so you can someone who's literally been here for a week can shake hands with someone who's been here since 1900s.
I started coming to River Road in 1980.
I'm not positive, but I think we started in about 2007, 2008, and we were looking for a place, mostly for our daughter, to have another community that would hold her and support her.
joined right when the pandemic hit. And the first time we had something here after the world shut down, and it was in the parking lot. I was sitting down there waiting for the music to start. Reverend Nancy was tens of feet away on the boardwalk, and she goes, "Hi, Josh." She knew me after meeting me twice, and that was just amazing.
And welcoming community with lots and lots of really interesting, amazing people who are on a spiritual journey together.
The first word that comes to mind is welcoming. It's very easy to find a place here. And there are people always looking for new energy, new ideas, and once you find someone who will get you in the door, you're set.
What really makes it tick is the people inside the space.
Yeah, and all the memories that we now have in that space.
And once you know what the ministers are about and what they support and what other people in our community support, it's almost like you can't not come.
I think this community is one of the most welcoming communities in the greater Washington, D.C. area.
It's so much more than Sunday service.
It's just a vibe.
Did you hear that from Marie? It's just a vibe. It's a whole vibe. This thing that we do. In the words of my colleague Gordon, McKeeman, ministry is all we do together. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, that beckons forth hidden possibilities, that invites us into deeper, more constant, more reverent relationships. Ministry is what we do together when we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together in terror and torment, in grief and in pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. All of us who minister speak and live the best we know with the full knowledge that it's never quite enough, and yet we are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, joy shared. Ministry is all that we do together. In this place, we don't continue to do what we do because some organization or individual takes care of things or performs community in front of us. We do what we do because together we choose it. And one of the ways we keep choosing it is by choosing to fund it. My family and I have made our annual pledge at a leadership level that every year stretches us just a little. Not because we are super cool, but because being a part of this place really matters to us beyond the fact that I work here. It matters to my family. It matters to the identity of my children. Belonging together in this place matters to us. And so today, all of us are getting started in this stewardship campaign. We are all in, inviting everybody to just not have to worry and fret about it anymore, and make your pledge today if you can. If you're new or if you're visiting today, don't you worry. Nobody's going to hover over your shoulder. Your gift is your presence. We are so glad you're here, and none of us argue that we should ever give until it hurts. Instead, we think we should give until it feels good, until it feels like the right thing, in the right way, for each of us uniquely. We know that some of you need to go home, head out, discuss a gift with your family, with those you love. Please do so. Do not feel a pressure, but do feel a broad, invitational spirit to generosity. A pledge is not a contract. It is your best estimate of giving over a year just so that we can plan ahead and serve each other well. Before the official launch of this annual campaign, which is right now, this minute together, I am delighted to announce that we already have $247,000 in pledges for the 23-24 congregational year. For the 24-25 congregational year, thank you, Diana Gilpatrick, because I don't know what year it is, and let's be honest, neither do you. It is a remarkable act of generosity to be a quarter of the way to our goal right here at the beginning. It is a statement of how much it matters. While the music plays, while that gift of beauty settles over us all once again, I invite you, in fact, to consider taking out your phone. Yes, on this day, you can use your phone in church, no worries. And consider what giving might mean for you and for all that we have built together. We are indeed in this together, today and every day.
It takes a whole village to raise our children. It takes a whole village to raise one child. We all, everyone, will share the burden. We all, everyone, will share the joy.
what a gift it is to be in community. What a gift it is to give and to receive fully from our hearts. Our blessing for this giving is adapted from a writing of Reverend Leslie Takahashi. To worship means to consider that which has worth. And today we consider with so much gratitude the many gifts of this community, the opportunity to be affirmed in who we are and to offer that affirmation to others, the chance to stand up together to help remake this world and the ideals and the values of justice, the freedom to choose one's own path to truth and to learn from the struggles and the travel logs of others, the space to expand one's own spirit and to reconnect after busy or even humdrum weeks with the sustaining truths of one's lives. Regular reminders that we must see our world through the lens of love, and the aspiration to consider that all life is precious, for if it's made of stardust, how can it not be wondrous? So this morning, let's welcome all of these gifts with gratitude, for they have been paid, and with many currencies. The blood of the martyrs who died so that we can be free in our religion. The sweat of those who persisted in justice's name against hostility and adversity. The tears of those who struggled to build better lives for those in this life. The questions of our children as they understand the world anew and offer their understanding to us through a fresh lens. The laughter and joy of those giddy with the embrace of community, the dollars and cents of those who gave what they could and then stretched a little bit more, the infinite small acts of service that make the parts greater than the whole, done by those who knew themselves in alignment with our shared purposes. So today we celebrate with gratitude and humility what it means to build this beloved community in ways large and small, to give and to receive, and to be co-creators of this community for the children of our children. May it be so.
We gather in this space every week, full of laughter and tears, joys and sorrows, that which lives in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. We also know that we gather in this place surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, those who have gone before us. We have lost many river roaders this month. Particularly today, I lift up the lives of 3 among us who gave so much and changed us so much. A celebration of the life of Bob Coe, truly one of the kindest men I have ever known, will take place here at River Road on Saturday, March 2nd at 2 p.m. I also want to invite you to join us on March 23rd to remember the life of Kirk Hornbeck, the beloved husband of our longtime bookkeeper, Diana Chimes. His service will be at the Hyatt Regency Bethesda. You can see more information about it in the e-weekly. And Marjorie Newman passed away peacefully overnight on February 20th at the age of 94. Marjorie's son, Mark, reflects on her deep love of River Road and especially her work as a founding member of our college access team who helped run the college access fundraiser for so many years. A celebration of Marjorie's life will be held on Thursday, February 29th at the Pumphrey Funeral Home here in Bethesda, with the receiving of friends beginning at 12:30. The family has asked that any donations in her memory be made right here to River Road's College Access Fund. Finally, it has been a week of great loss and great hope, beginnings and of endings, for River Roaders Grace Vanderveer and Peter Noon. They hold grief at the passing of Grace's mother, and they hold the unbound celebration of the arrival just 3 days later of their healthy, gorgeous new baby, Evangeline Leah Noon. Evangeline carries her grandmother's middle name, Leah, along with her legacy. Welcome to the world, Miss Evangeline, the very newest River Roader. Some years back, when our kids were still pretty young, my husband John and I had the chance to go to Rome, just the two of us, making our way to places I had read about and imagined all my life. We did the big ticket items that one does in such a place. We crashed a papal mass at St. Peter's, which is an amazing story I will tell another day. We celebrated New Year's Eve in the streets outside the Colosseum with 10,000 of our brand new closest friends. It was a transformative time for me. But perhaps the most indelible experience of that or nearly any trip we have ever taken together was the afternoon when we walked down, deep below the street level on the Via Salaria, the ancient street of salt, into the spaces carved and utilized by some of the world's very first Christian communities. One thinks of catacombs as burial places, as places reserved solely for the dead, but in this place, what was carved there into the rock were not only tombs, but chapels, places to practice with one another what it means to be the church. Down below that ancient salt way, the street the legionaries used to travel on their way out of the city, lies the catacomb of Priscilla, a warren of tunnels famous indeed for layer after layer after layer of rock-cut tombs, but most famous still for its frescoes from the very, very early years of the 2nd century AD, frescoes that constitute some of the very first images in the entire world anywhere of the act of Christian worship. There, deep beneath that modern city, is an image of a woman with her hands raised in proclamation just like this, evidence that women have presided over worship for a very, very long time indeed, and a stick in the eye of anyone who continues to declare that lady folk do not belong in pulpits. Painted there 1,800 years old is a beardless shepherd with a somewhat beleaguered sheep slung over his shoulders, and most remarkably, in one small antechamber above an altar meant for celebrating communion, there is the fresco known to history as the Fractio Panis, the breaking of the bread. Where two or more are gathered in my name, the Gospel of Matthew says, I am with you. And there in paint and in ancient plaster, in the catacomb of Priscilla, indeed over 1,800 years old, is an image of people gathered together. It shows 7 people around a table while one of them holds a loaf of bread in their hands and breaks it for all to share. Scholars posit that all 7 of those gathered may be women. The Vatican officially declares it to be 6 men and 1 woman, of course. Either way, the people are gathered and the bread is broken. And on that afternoon in Rome, to my astonishment before my own eyes, John and I were looking at the very earliest picture anyone can ever see of the church. Not a church, but the church, or if you will, not a church building, but a congregation gathered together before the concept of a separate edifice we might understand as a church building or a sanctuary of faith even existed, before the empire of Christianity as history has known it even existed, before faith of this sort was an institution at all, before separate and ordained clergy like me and Reverend Amanda even existed, before this business was anybody's job and was instead everybody's job, when what it meant to be a Christian was to be the people who sat together, remembered all they had lost, and lived their lives in the great risk that it took to honor their faith. Where 2 or more are gathered, there is the earliest and most important act of worship. Where two or more are gathered, there is the church. Where two or more are gathered, there is the memory of all that we have lost. That oft-quoted dictum of Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew about the church being present when the people are present, it is not, like most things, something he made up all by himself. Like most of the great teachers' stories, there are inspirations pulled from other more ancient traditions, including in this case, the practices of the Jewish and Hebrew people that were always his home base. From time out of time, this wisdom that the true sanctuary is the gathering of the people and that the work of the faithful is the work of the people has been practiced within Judaism all around the world, even still. What it actually takes to constitute a synagogue, a place of Jewish worship, teaching, and learning, what it takes to make any place into a place of holy observance is a minyan. Nothing more or less elaborate than 10 of the faithful gathered together in one place. That is it. That is all it takes to transform a space into holy space. The people gathered to do their work, to eat, to debate, to plan, to attend to each other's joys and sorrows, losses and victories. That is the alchemical magic that turns any place into sacred space. That is all it has ever been. People coming together, sometimes against all odds, to love one another and to protect each other. Since times so ancient, there are no images of them. This is what this thing we do together has always been. Which is why it was so astonishing to me on that afternoon when I laid my own eyes on the frescoes in the catacombs of Priscilla in Rome. Because in real time, in real life, I was seeing what one could reasonably call the oldest image anywhere of that church universal, not a church, but the thing, the people, 1,800 years later, a testament to what was there before every structure we ever put up around religion existed in the Western world, before any leader was ever appointed to shepherd it, a testament to the connection and the care that will be there long after all of our labors, should we choose to protect it and invest in it and give it to our descendants in the way that our ancestors gave it to us. In my first year of ministry, I was foolish in a great many ways. I got invited to this convocation of first-year pastors from all around the country. We were the bright rising lights for the future of progressive religion in America. And as those inspired to tend the fires of faith, we were asked, quote, to bring a picture of your church to the opening worship service of this conference. Bring a picture of your church, the directive said, and dutifully I and so many of my colleagues did just that. I, in fact, went to Kinko's and carefully printed a photograph of the stately red brick church that stood on the corner of Church and Main Streets in Old Town Manassas, Virginia, where I then served. I proceeded at the appropriate time in the service to reverently go up with everyone else and place that picture of my church building up on that altar to be blessed. Building after building after building, we came with our pictures of our churches, crumbling and perfectly maintained, mid-century modern and high Gothic, rented and owned in shopping malls and shady lanes. We put these pictures of these buildings, except for one of us, a Lutheran friend of mine who was, in fact, the only one who understood the assignment. Because what he brought was not a photo of a building, but an image of a motley crew of people, young and old and sweaty in the summer sun, smiling and frowning at their all-congregation service project the previous summer. There truly was a picture of the church, of the congregation, the essence of what this thing has always been and will always be. And in that picture of sweaty people of all ages doing the work together was a preview for me of the work that would happen in this very place years later when we, right here, officially changed our own name from River Road Unitarian Church to River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation, a switch that claimed our theological home base as something much broader than the Christian church tradition alone, but that also laid claim to the greater truth that this thing we are tasked with preserving and defending is not a building or a program or an institution or even a faithfulness to one or two or a few leaders, but a deep and lasting faithfulness to each other. A congregation is its people. From the earliest images ever painted on ancient bedrock walls to a picture I have on my phone of river roaders laughing themselves silly at the retreat last spring, to these cameras that can so astutely point at my face when they need to, but can pan all around us to an image of those gathered as in ancient days since time out of time. Ministry, says Gordon McKeeman, is all that we do together. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, like that time just last month when the Montgomery County Down Syndrome Association realized that their annual gala ball, the most fun event of the entire year for these children and these families, for these folks who just want to dance, was scheduled to be held at a congregation that had recently expressed staunchly anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ views, and they knew just who to call close to the last minute so that they could have their dance here where they could be safe, where the children and the people and the families of all kinds could choose to dance or not dance, to roll around on the floor if they wanted, to shout for joy in a place made sacred for them by us, in a place made sacred by our values lived in community, a place that would not be here for them if not for you and if not for those who came before us, including some whose death we grieve this very week. Ministry is what we do as we celebrate triumphs of the human spirit. Ministry is what we do together in grief and misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. Like the memorial service last week for Lynn Starbird, who spent his career with the State Department trying to fend off war and violence, and much of his retirement right here in this room, having a whole lot to say at every single annual meeting, and sitting in the middle of this sanctuary beaming with pride as his wife sang in the choir year after year, season after season, the music carrying them along with it through the tides of their history and American history, and the way in which a Unitarian Universalist memorial service is not a tribute to an abstract notion, but to a real person with real stories and real lessons in real life. And every time we come away from one, we have occasion to be grateful that this may be the way our loved ones or we ourselves are remembered. Ministry is that shared endeavor in which we are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joy shared. In the midst of it all, we are reassured by the laughter and the celebration in this room last night when we came together at the cabaret for nothing more or less grandiose than a great time in a lonely world. By the depth of our conversations about leadership, identity, faith, and doubt that happen all around this space all week long. By River Road's Earth Ministry team, which seriously has inspired a denomination-wide climate revival that will happen in September and will impact our entire Unitarian Universalist faith tradition. In the midst of it all, we are reassured by the drums that will kick up soon in the fireside room when Scotland AME Zion begins their worship service in our shared sacred space because we have chosen to share it. We are reassured by the fifth graders who are currently enrolled in Our Whole Lives comprehensive sexuality education curriculum that equips them in this world in a way no other program can. We are reassured by this staff team that works here, a staff team that so genuinely loves each other that I have never seen the like in any congregation in the span of 20 years. We are reassured by the marvelous creative courage of people like our facilities director, Mandy Kelly, no joke, who found out we were running out of tea lights 2 days ago and took the leftover candle wax from all of previous week's prayers, melted them down, put in new wicks, and put them right here for you to light new prayers and hopes for today. I mean, who does that? And why not? Why not? Do the most creative, gracious thing possible. Why not work that hard to have a home for your hopes and your yearnings built on the hopes and the fears and the yearnings and the tears that have gone before? That is the shared usness of it all, which we are reassured by and in which we are given hope. That is the thing we are doing, have been doing all along, tracing a lineage all the way back to that painting on a wall carved out of bedrock 1,800 years ago and long before. A lineage of people who showed up to be the congregation, to be hope for one another, to be healing in a dangerous world. That's all it has ever been, and what it must be long into the reaching future. So when we talk about giving, because we are honored to do it, to talk about it, to share it, we are not primarily talking about the institutional trappings of togetherness set up year after year, decade after decade. We are not even talking primarily about the professionals like me who do what we do in some capitalistic exchange of goods and services. When we talk about giving, we are talking about that ancient table where two or more are gathered, and the minion of the faithful that came so long before them. We are talking about the board meeting set up in tiny little squares on Zoom. We are talking about the room downstairs in the new building right here at River Road that is filled to the brim with food for kids who would otherwise go hungry in the DC public school system. When we talk about giving, we are talking about a commitment to protecting and preserving this power of community that is ours uniquely in these days. This ministry and the support of it, and the holy work contained therein, it isn't mine. It isn't unique to this space, however beautiful and sacred this space is. This ministry is yours, and it will be yours. It will be ours for generations to come if all of you together choose once again, in all the forms generosity takes, to be that force of commitment and hope for each other. Give, yes, to each other and to this ancient and holy work of truly belonging to one another. Everything we do together, including everything it takes to bring a service like this to all of you. This morning, I, of course, want to thank the choir. What an amazing gift today. I got a whole litany of thank yous today. I want to thank Lisa Moore and everybody who brought us the cabaret last night, of course. Our whole tech team this morning, some of whom were also here tonight, and I'm going to rattle off a few all together. I also want to thank all the folks who helped produce the video that you saw today. We'll see more of them throughout the course of the campaign. The entire Financial Stewardship Committee. Can you just raise your hand if you're on financial stewardship? And especially Josh Moore. And Josh, you have permission to hide in the basement as long as you need after this service is over. I also want to thank Don Cherry, who is sitting up in the back. So Don Cherry has been selling Don, wave at us, has been selling fair trade coffee in the lounge and in the fellowship hall for, I don't even know, longer than I have been here. A very long time, Don has undertook this faithful project. This is the last Sunday of his service selling fair trade coffee. Thank you, Don. For this and so many other things, there are a couple of announcements that I can lift up about ways to connect before Josh has a craft project he invites you to. Firstly, that you can save the date for River Road's Get Out the Vote campaign, which is starting on March 10th at 11:30. Join the planning, make your voice heard. It's going to be a wild ride leading up to November, so let's do what we can. Registration is now open for our 10th annual service learning trip, which will be August 4th through 10th. Everybody is welcome, adults, teens, young adults. You can get more information in the registration link in the e-weekly or by contacting Beth. It is also the season for Capitol Pride. Have you always wanted to walk or ride in the Capitol Pride Parade? This may be your year because Reverend Amanda is teaming up along with other River Roaders and other area UU congregations to plan for our participation in the Capitol Pride Parade on June 8th. If you're interested in joining our contingent, you just contact Reverend Amanda and mark your calendar. The next planning meeting is March 6th. Finally, Shelter Week signups are open now. Shelter Week, which is when we provide all the food for the Montgomery County Women's and Children's Shelter for a week, will be March 17th through 22nd. It is our 36th year working with Rockville Interfaith Works Women's Shelter to provide that food and supplies. And there is a lot we can do in preparation. So sign up now. There's details and a link in the e-weekly and online. Josh, did you want to talk about our craft project? While he's coming up here, I asked my son Josiah, who is 10, what he did in religious education last week, and he said, we made paper people because the people in charge of the money told us to. And so now you all get to do so as well.
Real quickly, you probably noticed our logo is image of cutout paper people. And as a part of the campaign, we have established cutouts of paper people that we would like everyone to decorate, and then we want to hang them on the bridge windows as a sign of our community. So we have all the supplies, all the paper people, all the scissors. Please stop by in the lounge. We have a table set up and ready to go, and make one for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, as we prepare to take this light that has strangely gone out into the waiting world. Wait, I'm going to fix this. May the hope that casts out fear, the truth that makes us free, and the love that never dies guide us and those we love and those we do not love forward together till the day spring breaks and all the shadows flee away. Amen.